When you debut a new TV series, you only get one chance to make a first impression, and it's really quite hard to come back from a bad one. That is even more true with sci-fi fans, who are a notoriously unforgiving lot, aren't they? Now, if they do get behind your show, they will definitely support it until the bitter end. But if they're not on board, well, good luck getting them to tune in. However, despite fan support and great, or at least decent reviews, there are actually all too many good sci-fi TV series that got the axe long before it was time. And with that in mind, I am Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are 10 great sci-fi TV shows that died too soon. Number 10, Jericho. Post-apocalyptic stories have always fascinated TV viewers, from The Walking Dead to The Last Man on Earth. And Jericho had the potential to be one of the best if it could have aired for more than 2 seasons. After a series of nuclear bomb attacks in target US cities, the town of Jericho finds itself cut off from the rest of the country. Slowly, the story comes into focus and factions across America rise up to take control in the aftermath. The residents of Jericho find themselves thrust into the conflict as pivotal players in the game. An often gripping drama that played out its tension pretty damn well, to be honest. More seasons were definitely needed to flesh out the whole story. Unfortunately though, that just didn't happen, though seasons 3 and 4 at least found life in comic book form, so that's something I guess. Number 9, Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. If you're looking for the best thing in the Terminator franchise since Judgment Day, then look no further than the Sarah Connor Chronicles. That being said, clocking in as one of the best, slightly more recent entries in the Terminator franchise is not exactly a hard bar to get over. The essential premise of the series was that Sarah, John, and a new Terminator called Cameron jump forward in time to 2007 after the events of Judgment Day, to continue the fight against Skynet. Their problem is that Skynet is sending a stream of Terminators back in time to take them all out, and win by any means necessary. The Sarah Connor Chronicles did a marvelous job of expanding on the overall narrative, which is something the franchise desperately needed, didn't it? Rather than trying to capture old glory in theaters, the small screen Terminator installment gave fans more story and new characters to work with. But man oh man, 2 seasons just was not enough, was it? Now I've got a quick question for you. What is your favorite sci-fi TV show of all time? You let me know in the comment section down below. Number 8, The Lone Gunman. When it was originally on the air, The X-Files was an absolute phenomenon. The Lone Gunman, the spin-off series featuring the fan-favorite characters of the same name, was not, however. The Lone Gunman obviously first appeared on The X-Files. The trio of hackers and conspiracy theorists published a newsletter about what was really happening in the world. And naturally, Mulder was a bit of a fan, and they helped him with his search for the truth. They became an important resource to both Mulder and Scully. The short-lived spin-off didn't capture fans' interest in the same way The X-Files did though, possibly because it focused on a different kind of conspiracy unrelated to aliens or the supernatural. Oddly, the Lone Gunman pilot, which aired 6 months before 9/11, actually had the lead stop the hijacking of a commuter plane that was going to be used to take down the World Trade Center. Now that right there is a creepy coincidence. Like so many other sci-fi series that got cancelled way too early, The Lone Gunman ended on a cliffhanger, and since The X-Files was still on the air, there was at least something of a resolution to that finale in a season 9 episode. So take what you can, eh? Number 7, Flash Forward. Based on the Robert J. Sawyer novel of the same name, this show was adapted to TV as a spiritual successor to Lost. Like the iconic series, Flash Forward was based on a core mystery that drove the narrative. Unlike Lost though, it only lasted 1 season. The inciting incident of Flash Forward is the moment that everyone on the planet loses consciousness at the same time for 137 seconds. An intriguing concept, right? During that missing time, people see visions of what the future holds for them. Some are obvious, while others require more interpretation, but they all deepen the mystery. Everything that follows explores the who, what, how, and why of the missing time. And as the investigation grows, so does the apparent conspiracy behind the plot. The incident is not an accident, folks, so there is a sense of urgency to solve this case before another one of these events happens. That payoff never comes, though, as the series ended far too soon. Damn it! Number 6, Space Above and Beyond. As Earth began to expand into space, they ran afoul of aliens that really didn't want them there. I wonder why. Not only that, internal conflicts related to artificial life and genetically engineered soldiers plague humanity as they fight these aliens for survival. Yep, so that is everything at the core of Space Above and Beyond. It sounds pretty cool, right? For a show that only had 1 season, they successfully managed to cover a lot of narrative ground. It was about as gritty as science fiction gets, showing humanity humanity on the brink of failure in their interstellar endeavors. Fans would have enjoyed watching the Navy fight their way through the problems they faced, building and succeeding. Instead though, those that watched the series were left with something of a cliffhanger, and no substantial resolution really. Many of the main characters were either dead or missing in action, but at least Earth did seem to be in a better overall position in their conflicts, so little victories. Thank you very much for watching this video today, my friend, and if you're enjoying what you're watching, then hit that subscribe button down below and you're gonna get more of this What Culture stuff on your screen. Number 5, Dark Angel. If this series is remembered for one thing, it is putting Jessica Alba on the map. Created and produced by James Cameron, Dark Angel is about a group of children who are genetically altered by a secret US government project to be super assassins. Shortly after their escape, an EMP detonates over the US that wipes out virtually all technology. There is some recovery 10 years later, but it is slow. Max, the escapee the show focuses on, is now 19 and trying to find her missing brothers and sisters. Dark Angel definitely had huge potential and should have cemented Jessica Alba as a bankable action star. Neither of those things played out as Fox cut the series loose way too early. Fortunately though, Alba still did pretty well for herself over the last couple of decades. I mean, look at that IMDb. Still, it would have been great to see where this series would have gone over the next few seasons, but alas, we'll never know. Number 4, Stargate Universe. Despite a mediocre reception from critics, the Stargate movie had an impressive performance at the mid-1990s box office. It was at least good enough to spawn multiple seasons of follow-up TV shows across several series. The most unique of them was Stargate Universe, which was a departure from the formula used in previous series. In SGU, the crew using the Stargate ended up trapped on an ancient ship called Destiny. On the opposite side of the universe from their home galaxy, they spend 2 seasons exploring the ship and their new turf while trying to figure out how to get home. The series never gets the chance to resolve this though. By the end of season 2, the team has figured out how to control the ship but not how to get back to the Milky Way galaxy. This ultimately leaves them trapped then as they continue to just survive and explore. Boo. I mean, the ending was encouraging to an extent, but another season to bring the team home would have definitely been nice, right? Number 3, Almost Human. Karl Urban is one of those actors that fans will follow to the ends of the earth, or at the very least into battle against some Uruk-hai. His portrayal of Dr. Leonard McCoy in the modern Star Trek movies earned him praise, as did his turn as Judge Dredd. As such, there were more than a few fans willing to tune into his Almost Human show. Unfortunately, just not enough to keep it on the air. Focusing on the problems new technology was causing in the world, Almost Human partnered John Kennicks, a cop who hates androids, with an older model android called Dorian. Their rocky relationship turns into a relatively productive partnership, maybe even a friendship. Like Firefly, the J.J. Abrams produced Almost Human was shown out of order and received a quick cancellation. And while the creators probably didn't have 7 seasons planned out, the series definitely had big potential, but then it was just gone. Number 2, Firefly. On a list like this, Firefly is just an inevitable entry, isn't it? The untimely demise of Joss Whedon's sci-fi western series has long been a sore spot for fans. After humanity wore the Earth out, they went to the stars and colonized space. It was the only way to survive, and naturally they also took their governments and wars with them. Once the Civil War was over, many people were left on the fringes, hustling for a way to survive. That would definitely apply to the crew of the Serenity, who scraped and crawled for every scrap. For some reason, Fox greenlit the show for air but didn't really support it. They cancelled Firefly before airing all of the produced episodes, and as already noted, broadcast the episodes before cancellation out of order. I mean, it's hard to follow a story when it's told wrong. A movie did try to wrap the story up somewhat, but it didn't replace what fans missed out on, as Whedon reputedly had 7 seasons of stories planned. Yep, 7, just imagine. And number 1, Farscape. Astronaut John Crichton was experimenting with new technology in space when something, well, it went a bit wrong. Alright, depending on your point of view. He was thrown across the universe, ending up on a living prison ship with a strange group of escaped convicts. Over the next 4 seasons, Farscape followed the adventures of Crichton and his newfound family, as they tried to survive the horrors of space. A co-production of Hallmark Entertainment and the Jim Henson Company, it was an interesting and unique take on the sci-fi genre. The show set itself apart even further by using incredible puppets and prosthetics, which was one of the benefits of associating with Henson's crew. Unfortunately though, Farscape was cancelled after 4 seasons. A bitter pill, since the last episode was a cliffhanger intended to lead into the 5th season. And while a miniseries was later produced to wrap the story up, Farscape, like all of these sci-fi entries, definitely had a bit more life in it. What a shame.